Okay, we're going live.
Hello, everyone. This is Barbara and Rosaline, and we'd like to welcome you to today's Financial Friday podcast. Today's subject we're going to be talking about is elderly financial fraud. This topic may ring close to some of you, and we hope that you would share this right now with someone who you think might to hear this information. In the finance arena, there are certain red flags when you're applying for financing. The underwriters are trained to look for certain red flags that might show signs of fraud on an elderly person. And some of these things involve usually loans that are not age appropriate. For example, most of these elderly are on fixed incomes. So when the underwriter sees requests come in for a really large loan amount and the applicant is, over age 62, that definitely does draw a red flag. And most of the time, elderly people and citizens, they do have good credit. They've worked hard. They respect the credit profiles that they have, and they generally treat it with very good care. I've seen myself personally, just something that comes to mind that drew a red flag even before it got to an underwriter. I had a young lady, sounded young on the phone. Her voice sounded young. But when we got the application and the age of the applicant, it just didn't feel right to me because this person didn't sound like someone who was in their 60s or 70s. And when they provided their documentation as far as their driver's license, the driver's license had an elderly person's name on it. So make a long story short, it ended up being a fraud case. It was a fraudulent driver's license and everything. But these are the things that underwriters and people in banking are trained to look for, signs that this might be a case of elderly fraud. And so I want to talk to you out there who are trying to maybe force a family member, elderly family member to apply for you because maybe your credit is not up to par. And I just want to tell you that's really not fair to do. I mean, that's not showing any kind of love and support for your family member if you know your credit is in bad shape and you're using their credit to try to get you a loan for your business or any purpose, because ultimately it's going to be their responsibility once they take out the loan for you. And if you skip a beat or you miss a payment or something happens, then you're actually going to affect their credit, and they don't deserve that. So I definitely want you to consider, if your credit is not in shape, to try to get your credit in shape before you go out there and try to get a family member or a friend to apply for a loan for you. And Rosaline, I think recently you said something involving your mom happened with fraud. Can you tell our audience about that?
Yeah, it was a situation where somebody contacted my mom and they told her that basically she won a sweepstakes. And they were saying that you won a sweepstakes, but unfortunately we cannot send you the money for the sweepstakes because you owe back taxes. Now, at this point, my mother had already been retired, probably a good 10 years already. So I guess, it didn't dawn on her, that she probably would not owe taxes. If she'd owe taxes, she would have been getting notices from the IRS.
Right.
And so she went ahead and she sent them. They gave her instructions for her to send the back taxes via Western Union. And she sent money, and it wasn't, somebody who lives on a fixed income or a retirement income, $1,000 is a
It's a
lot of
lot.
money.
Yes.
Yes. And so she sent the money, And then once they got it, they contacted her back and said, well, you owe additional. We checked it, you owe additional. And at this time, this is when my mom decided to contact me, not because she thought it was fraud, but because she just wanted to borrow the extra money that they were asking for so that she can get her sweepstakes prize.
So she was
And,
trying to comply with that. She wasn't,
yes,
at that point, she really wasn't connecting that this
that
didn't
this
sound
could be
right.
that this could be fraud. And I
Okay.
don't know what's more disheartening, whether the fact that they did this to her, um, that they did this to her, or the fact that I'm sorry.
Mm, it's pretty hard. Yeah, take your time. So, guys, listen, our senior citizens, our families, our parents, they sometimes are not really up with these scams and these schemes that are out here, and they have good intentions when they're talking. People are ringing their phones, trying to get them. They know that they're senior citizens. And so and on the other hand, have to kind of watch out for them, because
Yeah,
they may not be aware that they could be potentially
yeah.
being taken advantage of.
And like I said, I don't know what's harder, knowing that somebody would just do this to
Yeah.
someone you love, or just the fact that you realize that they are at that stage of their life, and they can look strong, and they can be lucid, but unfortunately these things happen. So
Yes.
I just have a few points that I thought that I could share, some of the things that we've done as a family to try to avoid anything like this ever happening again.
Okay. All right. Please
So
share.
the first thing you want to do with your elderly parent, um, is have the conversation. One of the things that's a little difficult with that is that, like my mom is in her 60s. So you just don't think that and she still has her independence and wants her independence. So you don't feel like you need to necessarily monitor as much. But once you see those signs, it doesn't matter about the age, that they're heading towards a direction. Just have the conversation, and try not to be judgmental. There shouldn't be any shame in the conversation, but just let them, just try to create an opportunity to speak to them about it, and let them know that that this happened. Let's create an opportunity so that it doesn't happen again. And for those who it hasn't happened to, let's beat the let's
Be
go ahead and
proactive.
beat it. Yeah, be
Yeah.
proactive
Okay.
so it doesn't happen at all.
Yeah.
And
And knowing that they're vulnerable,
yeah,
having the conversation before they even get to it is caring about them.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
there shouldn't be any diplomacy. A lot of times when parents are older, sometimes as kids we try to treat them like they're our children. But be gentle. One of the things that my father and I, we have a joke. I like to say to him, Daddy, why don't you cooperate? Just cooperate. And he finds it funny, and he does. He complies with a
Yeah.
lot of things. And let them know that just like your family bond, there's power in planning. You know, this way, maybe they'll be more receptive to having you help them. Uh,
Okay.
Another point is to create a financial family plan. It doesn't happen overnight, but the fact that you're doing this is great. Ask about their advisors, who their financial planners are. Um, Ask about who their lawyers are, who their accountants are, if they have investments, who the brokers are, and get to know them.
Yeah.
Actually, set a meeting up with your parent and or whoever the elderly person is in your life that you're responsible for. Set a meeting up with those professionals so that they can see your face, get to know you, and know that I better not try anything with this person because they have a
Right.
whole team behind them.
Yes.
You
And
know?
so then do you recommend if you're parents, when you have that conversation, if they don't have it, then that's your segue to getting them, with these
Yes,
experts. Yeah,
exactly. Some may not need it, some may not have the interest for all of those professionals, but definitely,
yeah.
definitely try to have someone on board. I can also share another story of mine. A client, she's my neighbor, and she just took to me, and she, for every year for the last 4 years, I've done her taxes for her. And recently she got ill. She fell ill. Now,
Okay.
unfortunately, her son contacted me, and the way he contacted me, it was nice, but it wasn't so nice. But still, the fact that he knew who I was in her life, other
Yeah.
than her neighbor, he also knew that I was her accountant, and he contacted me, on her behalf. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
that was excellent. That's an excellent
Mhm.
way, whether or not, you know. And another thing are the documents. Ask about whether or not they have a will, if they have a power of attorney on file. And like with this situation with my neighbor, unfortunately, well, I won't say unfortunately, but her son, he did send me a general power of attorney. But as a financial person, I don't really feel that that was sufficient enough for me to release any tax documentation to him. And also, his mother was actually fine. She had pneumonia in the hospital. It wasn't like she was, going through Alzheimer's or anything like that. So there was still an opportunity for her to give these documents to him, or at least tell him where they were.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, sometimes, even though we're talking about family and being an advocate for your elderly person, unfortunately, sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is the case with them,
Right. I hear you.
but
Hmm.
unfortunately, sometimes your own family members are the people that you have to watch out for.
Yeah, that's sad. And
Unfortunately,
I've seen that too in finance. I mean, you have
yeah,
people that are trying to take out loans for their personal, gain on
yeah,
their well-intentioned, loving family member. And it's
right,
sad because it's coming from within your family. So, hey, everybody that's listening, come on. Let's not
yeah,
kind of put ourselves in that arena that we're preying on our family members. Let's care for them around every situation regarding their
possibly can.
financial life and their health, everything. We need to kind of show that love, and don't take advantage of our
Yeah,
family members when they start to get older.
yeah. So making sure that they have a durable power of attorney that's current. And one of the things as a financial professional, I decided to do when I take on elderly clients is actually provide that form as part of the intake, so
Okay.
that in the event something like this happens, I'm covered. I know who I can give these forms to because I have the document on file. So
Right.
I decided to do that going forward, especially with elderly clients. The will is important. Find out if it's completed, you know, um, and where they are with that, where the stages are. Sometimes they might want to have a living will, and if they don't, suggest it. Those kind of things. Insurance policies. Find out if they're current and active and up to date. The last thing you want to do with insurance is assume that the policies are paid and up to date, and they possibly think that they might be, but they're not. And then if that unfortunate times happens and there's no policy, there's a lot of, there could be a lot of strain on the
Yeah.
family in that regard.
Okay.
And another thing is to simplify finances. Sometimes you'll find out that your person, your parents, or your relative that you're caring for have too many credit cards, right? It's possible that they can
Don't I
have.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
just
a
have
lot of times they come to try to consolidate that. And then at that moment, they may have had these credit cards for many years and
for
they're
many
used to
years.
paying them.
Yeah,
And so when it comes down to consolidating debt, a lot of times at that point in life, they're on a fixed income. And
and
so
again,
their fixed income may not even qualify them for enough to pay off and consolidate debt.
look at
It's a
that.
catch 22. They got all these credit cards. They've been using them for all of their lives. Now they're kind of pushing it or maxing them, and then they want to consolidate it into one monthly payment, and they're bringing a fixed income to the table to qualify. And if their debt to ratio, income ratio is too high, they can get declined for the loan.
Yes, and then be in a lot of trouble. So
Yes,
cut
they
down.
can.
So try to convince your person that you're caring for to cut down on the number of credit cards and stay
Yes.
within their budget.
Mhm.
Another thing that you can do is set up automatic payments for them for their bills. That way, like I said, they're all caught up. They're not behind on important payments like light, gas, just the essentials, as well as their life insurance policies and whatnot. Also, try to make sure that they have direct deposit of their income. This way, they don't have to risk, unfortunately, getting hit over the head, trying to get their money out of the bank or the ATM every month. People watch out for that. So try to make sure that they have direct deposit of income. And
Yeah.
lastly, try to convince your elderly person or family member to set you up to get alerts on their accounts. So this way, if there's some activity that's occurring that shouldn't be, they're getting the alerts and you're getting the alerts, and this way you can kind of monitor their financial business,
That's a great suggestion. Yeah.
regularly. Okay.
Yes, and
So
as a reminder, guys, I mean, these are good, we always are here to try to keep the focus on financing. Some subjects may be a little touchy, a little sensitive,
yes,
but the goal here today is to get you guys to kind of tune in and care for your elderly family member that need your help around financing, whether it's not taking advantage of them, whether it's educating them, looking out for their best interests when it comes to the things that they need, helping them to get in front of the best people that they need to be in front of, and also monitoring what they're doing because they need you,
they do.
to help. They need someone to help. Don't just leave it out there for them to fend for themselves. And I want to give you a reminder while we're talking about this, we're coming up with our Financial Friday Live pretty soon. And this is the kind of information that we want to share with you. So bring yourself to the Financial Friday Live. We're going to keep you posted as to when and where it is. Talk to your family members. Show up. You're going to get a lot more information that we can share in these few minutes on Facebook Live. We're glad you're here, but a live event gives you that one-on-one consultation with us. And we have experts coming together to help you in every type of arena we can think of in one place. So we're looking forward to that. Stay tuned to us on Facebook, on live and on our feeds so that you'll be, aware of when this is coming. Okay?
Okay, great. And just a reminder, like she said, the topic is very touchy. So just a reminder to be kind in your approach.
Yes.
Be kind in your approach with your person that may need you. Okay? So this is our session. We're wrapping up for this week of Financial Friday. I'm Rosalind Gordon.
I'm Barbara Fennell.
We'll talk to you soon.
Have a nice weekend, everyone.